for me, I think I'm gonna start with the Denise Huskins case.
Okay.
So what's interesting, and I did this on purpose, I have not watched the Netflix documentary, and there's a reason why. When I'm doing research into a case, number one, I really enjoy the feedback I get from people. Like, there's this idea out there that, like, you can tell when people are responding to you, like, oh, I'm calling you out for having wrong information. You know what I mean? And I just feel like that is probably somebody that doesn't understand the concept of Thought Riot Podcast, because we're here to learn together. So I'm going to have wrong information. But the people that are sharing their information, like, it's so smart. It blows me away on a daily basis. I am blown away by the comments that our community leaves us with ideas and information and, general details of cases, opinions, preferences, and all things that come with it. So I didn't want to watch that because I didn't want the subjectivity of a video to, like, cloud that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I started doing research on this, and it is one of the craziest cases I've ever seen in my life, you guys. Absolutely. Do you know much about it?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. There's really interesting questions in here that I would really love to talk about towards the end. So let's get through it. Okay. I'm going to stay off the subjective parts. And what I mean by that, just general rundown, is we're going to be talking about two people. Okay. We're going to be talking about an Aaron Quinn and a Denise Huskins. And these two people were together. They were having some relationship ups and downs during that time. Like any relationship, there was some issues with, like, flirting and cheating, not physically, but like some communication with exes, things like that, right? So just ups and downs. They were brand new relationship, working through some things. They got hot and heavy pretty quick. But anyways, so they were hanging out at their house, at Aaron Quinn's house, okay? And they went to bed for the night, and they're hanging out at the house with the intention of working through, like, these relationship issues they were having and stuff like that. So it was supposed to be like a bonding experience, right? Well, they wake up in the middle of the night, all right, with a sound, then get up to see what that is, and they are flooded in their eyes and in the room with lights and laser pointers.
What?
Yeah. What's the first thing you think of?
What year is this? Like, you didn't give the year and location.
Yeah, 2015.
Okay.
So, and it's Southern California. It's all over Southern California, though.
Okay.
So laser pointers. What's the first thing you think of?
I would think sniper rifles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or
Okay.
some type of gun that has a laser on it.
Right. Exactly. Well, from there, they're trying to figure out, like, what is going on. You know, can you imagine just waking up out of bed and, like, having a bright light in your face and this laser pointer? And I would probably hit the ground.
No, I would
dead
too.
serious.
I would too. I would think it was somebody trying to shoot me.
Correct.
For sure.
Absolutely. So, in comes somebody, okay? Instructs them to get down, instructs them to tie each other up with zip ties, okay? And this is according to Aaron Quinn. This is what is being shared with the police officers, right? So I'm recanting his statement he gave. That person then directs them into the closet, all right? Gives them each headphones, like, I don't know where my headphones are, but over the ear headphones, totally covered, all right? Like wireless headphones, high-tech stuff. Puts goggles on them, like swimming goggles on them, but painted black. So they're sitting in there together with goggles on, zip-tied hands,
Muffled ears.
and muffled ears, all right? And they're trying to figure out, like, what is going on? What you imagine how scary that is, you know? The person did tell them, as long as you listen, everything will be okay. We're not here to hurt you. We're here for a purpose. But so a minute goes by, then all of a sudden they start hearing noise on the headphones. It is a pre-recorded audio recording telling them that everything is going to be okay, that giving them the general rundown of the plan that's going on. They're there for a mission. They are there for it's a targeted approach. As long as they give them what they want, nobody's life is at jeopardy. Nobody is in risk of being physically harmed or anything like that. It continues to talk about, like, where they're from, streets they grew up at, things like that, right?
The victims?
Correct. Yes.
So they did their research on them?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And so they come back in, okay? And I'm trying to speed this up so we can get to the important questions. If you guys want more details, let me know on this. This is a very interesting case, and I could always come back to this and do an add-on where I'm specifically talking about the situation, because I think just this situation could be a 30-minute video on its own, literally. Like, that's how detailed this was. It is insane.
You know, I've started considering for certain cases maybe starting a podcast or just doing videos that are scripted and going through those, like, minute details, telling the story.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe that's, you know, a spin-off of, you know. But anyways, so what I'm getting at, what I'm trying to explain here is this is very well put together. So when I'm hearing this and I'm reading this and I'm putting myself into their position, my initial thought, okay, would be, am I being held up by like the CIA?
That's what I would think.
A military operation, or you know, an overseas country's military operation. Like, this is insane, you know?
Yep. That's what I would think.
And what's crazy is the person that talked to them had a voice changer too. Okay.
Oh.
So yeah. And so they go in there. They have now gathered their computers, their electronics. They come in there one at a time, take their headphones and glasses off, and ask them very specific information. I need the password to your bank account. I need the password to your email accounts. I need the password to your computer. I need the password to your anything personal safety protocol type stuff, right? They give it. They're terrified. Of course. Why would you not give it? Banks have insurance for this type of thing, you know? So they give it to them. They go away again and they start hearing the recording. And it's an in-between of the recording of this personal information, telling them what's going on, and like elevator music, calming elevator music. Yeah.
What the heck?
Dude, when I was first reading this, I was blown away. I thought this was a joke, and I'm not even joking. So after a while, they come back in and they split the two of them up. Something is realized at that time. All right. So there is, with the subjective information, right? And I'll try and keep it as objective as possible. That whole drama that was going on between the two of them, Aaron Quinn had been in a relationship with somebody else. And I don't want to put her name on blast. She's gotten quite a bit of hate from
it. Was an affair?
Not an affair. He was in a long-term relationship before Denise, okay? And it ended bad. Like she had been cheating on him for a long time, yada yada, whatever. They felt like there was no closure. He ended up getting with Denise. And because that no closure, there was some conversation going on the side. He never did anything physical with her, but they talked enough for, I think, anybody to be like, what the heck, dude? That's not okay. You know, if you're in a relationship with me.
Yeah.
But the guy comes in, starts talking to him, and realizes and asks Denise, hey, are you this person? And she was like, what? That's not me. And he said the name of Aaron's ex.
Oh.
Yeah. And so then they start asking like clarifying or verifying questions. Well, do these two people look the same? Do they have the same hair color, same height? And yes, checking all the boxes. So I don't know if they believe him or not at first, but they separate the two. They take her into, they call it like the computer room or something like that, and leave Aaron in there and continue going to work. Come back in, ask him for more information, passwords, personal stuff, whatever. And ultimately, okay, speeding this up here, they come in and they bring him to the living room. They set him up with a way to get himself free, right, from his zip ties. And they tell him that you are not allowed to leave this yellow line, and they have tape put on the ground. We have cameras installed in your house. We are taking Denise, and this is not to harm her. She will be okay, and everything will be okay. But this is to ensure that you pay the ransom that we're requesting, the $8,500. So once you pay the $8,500, you'll be good. This is how you're going to do it. I left you very detailed instructions, and we'll be communicating with you through email. Do not call police. Do not do everything. We are in all of your phones. We can see you at all times. And he said, you know, you're going to have to reach out to Denise's job, because they worked at the same hospital, and let him know that, hey, I have a family emergency. I won't be coming in this week. Then you need to reach out to your job and let him know that, hey, I'm having an emergency. I need to have a couple days off. Next, you're going to go to the bank, and you're going to take your phone with you, and you are going to withdraw this $8,500, and you're going to get it over to us in a very specific way. All this was very, very, very specific. And so, you know, he agrees, whatever. And then he leaves and I can't believe I forgot this. So during this, they made him take pills and drinks. So they drugged them. And that's important for this part of the story. That's why I forgot about it. They don't have any concept of how much time they were in the closet, but because he was drugged, he woke up and cut himself free, but was so tired from being drugged. He called, he did the phone stuff, and ended up passing back out again. Woke up later around midday. And that's when he saw the tape, realized the phone was going on. They had reached out to him through his own email to make it look like he was emailing himself. And said, this is what you're going to do. And he started, they said he's not allowed to reach out to any cops, okay, or anything like that. Well, his brother's an FBI agent. And Aaron Quinn's brother is. So Aaron didn't reach out to him for multiple hours, trying to wrap his head around this of what's going on. These guys in full black wetsuits, bodysuits come in here, and it feels like it's something out of a movie. You know what I mean? Literally out of a movie. But on the couch, he's sitting there and notices that the camera that's posted in the corner is making some weird noises. So he thinks, maybe it's not working. Maybe it's running out of batteries. Maybe I have a chance to actually get ahead of this thing, right? And Denise is gone. He calls his brother, the FBI agent, and says, look, this is what's going on. His brother says, hang up now. Call 911. So he calls 911. And an officer comes right over, okay? And he starts giving him the entire story, the rundown of what is going on. And I've went back and forth whether I'm going to give this officer's name or not. And I'm not going to, because there's a civil lawsuit open right now, and I don't want anything going out there that could affect the case for Denise and Aaron Quinn. You know what I mean? Trying to make it seem like, oh, well, Denise and Aaron Quinn aren't the victims. They put this information out there, and the real victim is this officer, right? And just to be clear, this officer was a complete idiot, complete and absolute idiot. Cop gets there. He's telling him the whole story. His immediate response is, you know, I don't believe you. We're going to search the house. I don't believe you. They bring him in for questioning and start interrogating him hard, dude. Like, what did you do with her? Without even doing a full investigation. Okay.
So for one, yeah, it's super messed up. But for two, I understand why they immediately were suspicious of him.
I do too.
I understand
I get it too, but there's a difference between believing and thinking that and being able to prove it. That's where my issue comes in, is these guys were throwing Hail Marys the entire time, fully backing what they thought they knew. And that's the problem.
Right. You weren't letting the evidence lead you.
Yeah.
You were just...
You can have your opinion, but you need to prove that, okay? And so the cop does not believe this, thinks he totally made it up, dude. So he's questioning him hard, and he's using convicted names like Scott Peterson and throwing it at this guy. So do you understand what's going to happen when I go to the media and let them know what's going on here? Do you realize you're going to be the next Scott? Literally threatening him like that. Like I'm not explaining how severe it was. So Aaron's in tears.
That's horrible.
Halfway through this, being threatened by these officers, and he just went through a horrible, traumatic event. Okay, and no, it doesn't feel real. No. It does not seem likely. The details of this are insane, you guys. This is literally Hollywood movie stuff going on here.
And I understand how unbelievable it is, but as a police officer, you have to entertain it.
I agree with you.
To.
I agree with you.
They didn't look at the emails? They didn't try to get it over to an IT expert?
I agree. Well, there's more to it. I agree with you. And, you know, one of the things that I've always said, just being related to criminal stuff when I was way younger, like most of you guys know of our viewers, criminals do the best when you live in the unbelievable. So if you make whatever crime you're doing be in an unbelievable level, nobody's going to believe it, because all the law enforcement run off statistical averages. And I'm obsessed with statistics. I think statistics are phenomenal, because the majority of the time you're going to be right. It's going to be these one-off situations you're going to be wrong. But statistically,
like Delphi.
Yes.
They completely ignored the symbolism and all of that.
Correct.
Completely ignored it because it's too unbelievable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So,
and I understand why. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. It's just a problem because there are those one-off situations. They exist.
Yep. So, they continue interrogating him. They keep him away from his family. He asks for a lawyer multiple times. They don't give him one. They are threatening, you know, to expose him to the media, throw this out. And they actually do. They actually do talk to the media, and are awful, dude. Absolutely awful. They end up making comments like, well, can you guys imagine our spot and how much money we put into this investigation, and then being what we believe is misled. Like, it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But anyway, so the cops finally give him an attorney, finally let his brother come in there, and he just breaks down in tears, you know, because he just went through this horrible event. And not to mention, we're talking about like his civil rights being trampled all over.
Well, he's being accused.
Still missing.
He's being accused of doing something to her, and she's missing. Like,
missing.
You know, nobody's looking for her.
Correct.
That's
absolutely
terrifying.
She is missing. So a whole day goes by, and it just says that the Vallejo Police Department in Southern California, Vallejo, Southern California. This happens in Huntington Beach, Vallejo, which is, there's good money there, you know. But they treat this case with skepticism, use publicity to try to make Aaron out to be the bad guy.
To character assassinate him.
To character assassinate, because they believe he was the one who did this. Telling her family that it was him. And it was so absurd.
That's horrid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her family?
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep. Yeah. So another day goes by, okay? And so we're now on March 25th. This happened on the 23rd. A ransom demand of $8,500 is sent to Denise Huskin's father via email, all right? And that same day, later that same day, she is found at her parents' house, hours away from Vallejo in Huntington Beach, California, alive and free. Couldn't get in her parents' house because her parents have traveled all the way down to where their house was. She gets a hold of them through a neighbor's phone, and the police approach her. And you know, they join the investigation. Her dad gets her a lawyer right away. Now, the police do this, okay? Start questioning her, finding out what's going on. And the police come out initially, before hearing anything, and say that she's at fault now and start blaming her. That's where this Gone Girl narrative comes from. Have you ever seen Gone Girl?
Yes, I have.
She sets it up.
Yes.
Okay, well, they believe that. They tried saying that she found out that he was talking to his ex, and she set this up in less than 24 hours notice and ran with this story. So she goes into hiding, okay? But here's the background of this. So from her perspective, all this has been going on with Aaron the whole time, all right? But when Denise left, she was put into a trunk, all right? And she was told the whole time that, you know, you'll be fine, just don't fight, whatever, right? She gets taken somewhere, to a cabin somewhere, whatever, and she has a very good description of what the room is. They secure her to a bed, and they tell them, you know, once everything comes through, the money comes through, we'll let you go, and you'll be fine. Well, this person said they have one rule, that they got to have blackmail on somebody in order they're too much. Otherwise, they're too much of a risk, okay? Well, because she was the wrong woman, he didn't have any blackmail on her. So, this is so messed up. So she's R-worded, and the person that took her said, you know, I'm really sorry I have to do this. I don't want to do this. She heard arguing between people outside of the room. It got escalated. They got mad, and they weren't okay with this situation, but they didn't know what else to do. So they videotaped her, you know, having sex with one of these guys that stole her, that kidnapped her. All right. And the worst part about it is when they were done, one of them came back in and was like, we have to do it again because you didn't look believable. So multiple times she was assaulted during this stay of hers, and it caused a whole bunch of friction between these multiple people before she was let go. But so she was let go, right? And back to the story where we were, she's in hiding because the police are trying to blame her and Aaron, or just her or Aaron. It honestly felt like chaotic madness with the police. You know what I mean? It's like they didn't care who they were targeting.
Hold on.
What?
Did they do an SA kit on her?
No. So the lawyer suggested, hey, let's get this kit done and let's get it done quick, and the cops pushed it off.
You just go to a hospital yourself and get it done. Okay, the cops don't need to have anything to do with it.
The cops pushed it off. So it didn't get done until later. And I don't have details around what that ended up being because
because why?
They ended up catching somebody.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, like, if you're ever in a situation, like, just go to the hospital immediately. Get it done as soon as possible. That is so important.
Yeah.
I wish somebody took her to a hospital, like, right away.
So, I agree with you. The captors during all this become offended with the police. They email the police and essentially say, how dare you for doing what you're doing? These two were kidnapped. They were kidnapped by us.
What?
I swear, I'm not making this up.
What?
Yes. And they said, if you don't, then they threatened the police. If you don't come out publicly and apologize to them, we're going to reach out to the media to make sure that they know, how ill-equipped you are, essentially. And they send 2 emails to police. The police officers do come out and make an apology, half-hearted one. In my opinion, it's a disgusting apology. But they end up saying, like, we're not going to be contacting you anymore. And they don't ever find out who these guys are. The police continue to pursue them. And it's like Aaron and Denise are constantly fighting to stay away from the cops. They're both lawyered up and everything. But the interesting thing here, before we get into like the details around it, we see all the time where cops have good intentions. I truly think these cops probably had good intentions, but their statistics misled them in this situation. There is nobody that is going to think that either of these 2 people were involved.
Yeah, because criminal profiling, a lot of their decisions they make with areas to start in their investigations are based off statistics. They really are.
Yeah, I know. But if we started retraining police to be able to manage trauma and approach situations from empathy, right? If there's not a gun out or a knife out, why wouldn't you approach every situation with respect and empathetic? Like, I don't understand. You're going to get more than being accusatory and
if you're
stand up and aggressive.
If you're accusatory off the rip, that person's not going to trust you. And what you have to understand is if they don't trust you, they're not going to be as loose-lipped, okay? And if they are lying, you're going to end up catching them in lies eventually, especially if they're super willing to talk to you because you're not an a-hole accusing them of things.
Yeah. I do know. I'm just sitting here thinking as I'm talking through it because, as I was reading on this, these were questions I was asking myself is like, dude, I just don't understand how the cops could do this in this situation. 2, should that be allowed? The gross abuse of media to say, you know what? I believe it's you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out in front of the nation's cameras and say that you're the next Scott Peterson.
No, it shouldn't be.
That's so offensive. That is so manipulative. You, in my opinion, you've effectively become the criminal. You are the aggressor, dude, with no evidence. Like, he wasn't arrested. He was not arrested. And the cops are pushing this narrative and then come out, like I said, and play the poor me card here once they realize, like, oh, shoot, these two people were kidnapped. She was taken. Not only just taken, but sexually assaulted twice. And we're over here doing this. And then they come out and like, well, you guys need to understand where we were coming from. You need to understand how much money we put into this investigation. You need to understand. No, nobody needs to understand anything. Your job is to serve the public. Like, talking about how much money you spent, you didn't spend that. You did not spend that, dude. Who spent that is the people that you're supposed to be protecting. That is their money.
Yeah.
So this idea of like,
we spend money?
Right.
No, the public spends money.
You put money from the public into this investigation, and then you're claiming like ownership over it. That's strange.
Even if it's not tax dollars, then it goes into debt and inflation rises and we pay for it anyway.
It's all coming from tax dollars or businesses from the US. Like that is
it is the public's money. Absolutely.
Yeah. So just so we're not lingering on this too long, because we could bring up so many topics with this case, so many disgusting topics and issues within police in this case, but I wanted this to just be a step one at least. And you guys let me know, like I said, if you want like a full breakdown story mode. I was more interested in talking about like the questions and the issues in this case with it being mishandled. But there was another crime in another area in the country. Where was it? I think it was Dublin, California. And these cops were doing follow-up because they had a lead on it, and they approached this cabin out in the woods. Okay. Ended up going in there and finding all of this stuff. The reason why they ended up finding that cabin is during this home invasion, the almost victims attacked this dude. It was the same setup where they heard a noise, trying to figure out what it was, had lights in their eyes and lasers like floating. Well, the homeowner attacked him and he fled, dropped his phone. They connected that phone with this cabin. So police went in there and they found, go figure, wetsuits. They found goggles that had been painted, a ton of computer tech, headphones, everything. They believe that this is where she was held in this. So he had done this to multiple people. They believe there was more than one person involved in the in this crime.
Well, clearly she said there was multiple people.
She heard people arguing, but only one person got charged. A Matthew Mueller ended up being arrested in connection with the Dublin home invasion and charged with attempted robbery, burglary, and assault. He was also indicted on federal kidnapping charges related to the Denise Huskins case. Denise Huskins and Aaron Quinn have filed a lawsuit against the city of Vallejo and its police department, accusing them of defamation and infliction of emotional distress. Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
They better win.
Oh, dude, this is California. They're gonna win, and they're probably gonna get like $50 million or something ridiculous.
Good for them.
But what I'm gonna do is I am now gonna watch this video and see
the documentary.
how it pales in comparison to the research I did on reading this. And you guys let me know if you want a deeper dive into the story, because the actual kidnapping was interesting. Like in a true crime, scary way, it was interesting that this person or people was so effective that it felt like, CIA, Hollywood, military type operation, and they probably would have got away with it because nobody believed them. And everything they did was top notch, like insane. I can't believe that they had a plan of this magnitude.
Assaulting her is probably what ended up getting them caught. Assaulting her and then fighting and then dropping her off. That's what got them caught.
No. That the dropping the phone was a different situation.
You're right.
But no, if that phone wasn't dropped, there's no way they would have got caught.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot. I totally blanked all that. But you're right. If that wouldn't have happened.
Especially with these cops. These cops did absolutely nothing to help any of this.
It's so absurd.
They victim blamed.
It's so stupid.
And that's what people get attacked for online, victim blaming. And we have our law enforcement doing it for everybody. Yay.
I just can't believe they went out to the media like right away and started saying he's the next Scott Peterson. That's one of the most absurd things I've ever heard. Like ever.
It's
from a
so
police
offensive.
Department.
It's so offensive.
Yeah.
Without having the evidence to back your claim,
Yeah, and to think we have cases where they've got it on lockdown, you can't get hardly any information. And then you got other police out here with zero evidence, no arrest, saying, yeah, he did something with her. He's the next Scott Peterson. Yeah. We just don't know how yet.
Yeah. I had one of our viewers that had left a comment that was wondering, was it the ex-girlfriend that targeted them? I don't believe so, because the whole reason for that SA that happened, the sexual abuse that happened, was because they needed blackmail so that she wouldn't go to police.
Right.
They didn't understand where the investigation was at, and they didn't expect the cops to be such idiots.
Why the heck would they consider that blackmail? I would totally still go to the cops. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't care if you have a video of that. I'm still going to the cops.
No, I'm the same way. I'll play whatever I needed to play to get safe, to get out alive. Safe, but it wouldn't stop me either. But who knows what they were thinking? Was that just an excuse to take advantage of her? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, they're the type of people that kidnap someone, so
you're banking on her being somebody who's even embarrassed by that.
Yeah. In Southern California, like, good luck. It's about the hippies out there that are not very shy about that. So yeah, I hear you. I think there's mistakes all the way around this. And like I said, I was blown away covering this, you guys, and it goes so much deeper. I could be talking about this for an hour and a half. I don't want to keep everyone too long. So leave your questions, leave your comments, leave your concerns. Let those thoughts riot in the comments below. Let me know if you want this to go deeper.
I definitely do. It's crazy.
All right.